Tell me a little bit about how Super Olympia became a thing. In my research, I found that you used another name, and I can't believe this is real. You wore a mask and called yourself Super Olympia. How does that come together?
I certainly did. So after Bob Armstrong used me for the 3 weeks, then I went to Bill Watts, where here's a chapter that will lead us to Mr. Olympia. During that period of 5 months that I worked with Bill Watts, I got to work with Tim Horner and Kelly Kaniski and a couple of guys that, we would go out there, first match every single night, no punching, no kicking. Now, these were the rules laid down by Bill Watts. 20-minute Broadway, which means 20 minutes through the time limit draw. If you're limited and couldn't punch and kick, you better learn how to wrestle.
Right.
Because that's all that it leaves. So I got my fundamentals in place during that time. We get towards the end of, I know time is running out. We're about the 5th month, and there's a little TV meeting, and Matt Bourne, who was working on top with Bill Watts, Ted DiBiase, and Hacksaw Jim Duggan, along with Matt Bourne, were called the Rat Pack, and they were the top heels in the territory. It's time for Matt, who had been there quite a while, to leave. They were going to send him to Atlanta with a manager, Paul Ellering, and they were searching for a partner for Matt. And Junkyard Dog, just out of the blue, God bless him, looks at Bill, and I'm just sitting over in the corner of the locker room. I just happen to be in the geographical area of this, just a fluke deal. But I was sitting over against the wall, paying attention to getting my boots on, and JYD looks across and he goes, Bill, Lundy looks just like Ole Anderson. I'll just send him with him, make him an Anderson. Yeah. Well, Bill Watts looked at me. It's like he saw me for the first time. He said, JY, you're absolutely right. I'll call Ole.
Wow.
Well, my head almost blew off, as you can imagine. Thinking this will never fly. This was just one of those. It was like running into Ted Allen times 10. Next week, of course, I had to suffer through an entire week before I heard anything. I get to TV the next week. He goes, you're finishing up along with Matt in 2 weeks. Go to Atlanta. You'll have a spot with Matt. Paul Ellering, I don't know who Paul Ellering was at the time, will be your manager. And you're welcome. Fantastic. So that was a huge break, which got me on Atlanta TV. More importantly, we walk in. Ole asked me to see me by myself. He talked to us individually and collectively. After those guys left the room, he said, can I see you for a minute? He went, geez, I thought they were ribbing. You do look like me. Said, so I tell you what we're going to do. You're not Marty Lundy anymore. You're going to be, Arn Anderson. I said, I sure as hell will. You can call me anything you want. And just like that, Arn Anderson was born. Ole put the gimmick on me. They put us in a really, really good spot. And we started up with Georgia Championship Wrestling and had about a 6-month run there.
Talk to me about the Ole thing. I know we're sort of jumping around a little bit, but the explanation was you were Ole's nephew. Is that right? Like that's the explanation?
Which time?
Anytime, when he first named you.
Take three conversations in the same hour, and I went from Ole's cousin to nephew to brother. And it could all be in the same conversation. And the announcers did the same thing. It was the damnedest thing ever. But you know what? No one really questioned me that much. They would go, how's your brother doing? Or going by what they heard last, how's your cousin doing? It wasn't like, hey, are you guys brothers or cousins or what are you? Is he your nephew? I mean, what is the deal? You would run into wrestling fans and they would just say, hey, how's your brother doing? And that's the craziness of being a wrestling fan. They didn't look at those details as being important. I looked enough like him that I could have been his relative of some sort. And they just go with it.